Up that says "Don't touch" or whatever, or no, whatever he did, so he wouldn't launch Bill Paxton and Tom Hanks. How could I forget Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks has been in a lot of good movies.
Really has a career.
He is.
I mean, all time, like, just first ballot Hall of Famer for sure if we're doing it that way.
Absolutely, and I realize I'm not plugged into the router. I am now plugged into the router. Let's get off wireless here. I just saw us drop frames. There we go. Okay, that was our cold open live from New York. It's Saturday night. Here we go. All right. So we are going early today because there's MMA. There's a big MMA card tonight at 7 o'clock. So you're going to get Pete the Heat, Rogers, and Jason Floyd taking you up until lock for that. We will promptly hop off here probably a moment or two before 6 o'clock just so they can take over the airwaves here. But in the meantime, I think we have most of our information that we need. So let me get some lineup pages up. Oh, that was the notification that we went out on Twitch. I'd been having some trouble with that lately. I don't do anything different, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's usually only me that happens to, Terry. My amazing abilities know no bounds.
I worked in IT for a number of years on the sales side of things, and I can tell you for sure that I've heard that many a time from customers. I didn't change anything; it just happened. That's what happens with computers. There's gremlins. I know.
It truly does. It truly is the case. But we've got what I think we got 11 games now. I'm just double checking. Today was so weird with all the double headers and some sites doing early games, but not all of the games. And the all-day slates didn't have all the games in it. And then some of the slates had partial double headers, but partial. It was just like, get me to 7 o'clock. And there we go. So yes, 11 games. Lance McCullers is apparently going to be on a little bit of a pitch count. That's going to be the first game that we're going to talk about here. Looking through everything, does not look like we have weather issues. And then we also have, we just got the San Diego lineup. So we're still waiting on the 8 o'clock game, which is the Rockies, and then the battle for LA. It's going to be 100 degrees in Arizona. I'm double checking the roof because I like their pitcher if the roof is closed. The roof will be open. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right, well, let's jump on in here. We'll start to let people sort of congregate. But again, if you guys want to hit that like button, we would appreciate it. It helps us do battle with that evil Google and YouTube algorithm. Everything's owned by Google at this point, right?
Yeah, everything's Google or one of two or three other companies. If you choose it far enough up to the top, that's about it.
And I don't know how that's going to happen. We're sponsored by Yahoo, so we'll talk a little bit about them. I did put out my Yahoo free NFL article this afternoon, so I will drop that link in for you guys. But they do have CSV upload and edit. I've had success there in NFL in several of the past seasons. Usually at least once, knocking on wood, I get like about a $1,500 to $2,000 week. Now, that usually only happens once. Last year it happened twice. So, no guarantees, but does that mean I'm not going to get one this year? I don't know. So I got to be prudent with the bankroll. But they have the $300,000 baller. They have 12% management fee in this, which is the rake. They are not going to fill that. They've changed the parameters a little bit this week. It's a $15 price point. They have dropped the contest size from 500,000 to 300,000 to 300,000. Still a winnable contest. Nice thing is usually on theirs, I'll have to double check, but usually on their site, when you min cash, generally it's a double up, which is nice to have. And then the payout structure, not typically as egregious as it is on the other sites. Yes, you do double up for this, so that is nice. So if you finish, let's see, in the top 20%, you will double your money. That's nice. The other thing that's nice is 30,000 to first, 20 to second, 10 to third, fourth gets 5,000. So yes, it drops off a little bit, but it's not that 100,000 to first, 1,000 to 10th that we see.
Hearty handshake to the
yeah.
I hearty handshake reminds me of the phrase, I'm going to send a strongly worded email.
I like it. Now, for me, it's the line from Blazing Saddles.
Oh.
It will not be repeated on the show.
That movie could not be made today, but
I have a dissenting opinion from that, actually. That leaves out in the whole idea of cancel culture before we dive into the baseball show. Kind of leaves out the idea that one of the most popular, funniest, and smartest movies of last year was draped in swastikas and featured Hitler as a best friend of a little boy, the imaginary best friend. So, I mean, could we make Blazing Saddles today? I think we've got the sense of humor, too. I think we could get away with it.
I want to see if that was one that my uncle worked on. He did
Saddles or Jojo Rabbit?
No, Blazing Saddles. He did a lot of stuff with Mel Brooks.
Really?
Yeah, he was an accountant, a production accountant. So basically, he always laughed because I was an actual accountant, and he'd be like, "Nah, I do street accounting." So he'd wheel and deal and make sure the budgets are going to work and this and that and the other thing. So he did work in the industry for 40 or 50 years. But very interesting. He was actually, and then we'll get in the show, he was actually in the firm, technically.
No kidding.
So Bendini, Lambert, and Locke, the law firm,
sure.
When they come into one of the scenes and they have the portraits of all the founders on the wall in the conference room, he sat for one of those portraits.
That's awesome.
So for a brief moment, he's in the movie, and then they gave him the oil painting, and then there was a large sized actual photo of it. And he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these, but certainly nobody else wants them. So.
Right. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you're either keeping or it's going in the trash. So that's really cool. Founding partner of Bendini, Lambert, and Locke, huh?
Yeah, interesting.
Very, very cool. And he knows how to show that E.T. never showed a profit over time, so you don't have to pay out any of the actors. Yeah, that's good accounting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was more what they called the production accountant, so he just made sure everything got done. On the back end, that was other people. But he was always like, "No, you should move to California. I'll hire you. You're an actual CPA. I'm not." I'm like, well, I don't know that I want to move to California, but life choices there. Life choices. All right, let's get into the games here. We got a nice little crowd. We've had some fun, but we're going to cruise through these. We've got Lance McCullers, as I mentioned earlier, on somewhat of a pitch count. He is going against Kyle Gibson. We've seen good and bad Rangers starts going against the Astros here. Am I blanking? Was it did Cody pitch yesterday, or was he at some point in the
some point in the last 2 days he pitched, yeah.
Okay, everything's blending together. Oh, by the way, tomorrow is the last day of the regular season. All games are between 3:10 and 3:20. So tonight, we'll have to see what happens. I think there are still, 4 teams that haven't clinched yet. I think the AL...
I did mean to pull that up.
Yeah, because this is actually important. So for the NL, I know that the San Francisco it still has a chance. They're in the lead right now. So half the teams make it. Basically, it's top 2 teams in each division, and then 2, I forget what they call them, but we'll just call them wild cards. They had some other name for them. So San Francisco is 29-29. They're ahead of the Brewers by half a game, and they're ahead of, which was a full game last night, so one of them, Brewers must have played. And then the Cardinals are right in the mix as well, and they're slightly ahead. So that's the mix. So right now it's a 50% chance for San Francisco. It's a 24% chance for Brewers. Oh, it's Philly because the Cardinals are already in. Sorry. And by the way, any site you go to doesn't have the expanded wild card stancing and all of that. It's everybody's riding. Remember, this is home games. It's 3-game series, and then they go to the bubble, and then the World Series is played at the neutral site. It's like reading
get a list of standings anyway.
Yeah, it's a stereo manual. So trying to figure out who's going to play who, it's just not going to matter. But it's those 3 teams. It's Philly, San Francisco, and the Brewers that all are still alive, going for that 8th and final spot. In the AL, everybody's clinched. Nobody else can make it. There's some tweaking because the Twins, the Indians, and the White Sox are all within a game. So whoever gets first or second has a better first obviously gets home field advantage. If you're the number 2 team with the best record, you also get home field advantage. So they're in the mix for both of those because why would we want anything being straightforward? So those 3 teams, 2 of them are going to play at home. One's going to be on the road. So this is, and it's too hard to tell who's going to be doing what. But I did want to point that out. So we may see, different from what Terry and I talked about on Thursday, we may see pitchers come out a little bit early today. We may see people, and anybody that's pitching today would be in line to pitch game 3 of most of the series. Right. So, this is more of a, we're not trying to save you, but if there's a tweak, if there's a twinge, if there's an eyelash out of place, there's a decent chance they're going to be coming out. And this also means, I don't want to say pinch hit, because that really obviously doesn't happen with the universal DH anymore, but we could see more late inning defensive replacements and stuff like that than we did previously. So this is kind of like the weird day. Tomorrow it's just going to be a nutty day. So in any event, I wanted to point that stuff out. All right. For the 3rd time, I'm just turning this over to you. Houston and Texas.
Houston and Texas. So I think McCullers, the issue is probably going to be with that innings limit. A little expensive at 95 on FanDuel. I'm not sure that we need to get there. 83 on DK is probably a little bit more playable on the 2-pitcher site. Overall, he is 51 innings, 3.90 xFIP, a 4.24 ERA, 22.2% strikeout rate, which is down. His career rate is 26.2, so he's striking out fewer guys. Swinging strike rate is down from 13.5 to 11.1%. I haven't been able to really find anything that he's changed. I think it's just kind of happenstance for him. The pitch mix looks pretty much the same. The spin rate, all the different things we like to check. So I think it's a little bit of just happenstance, a little bit of luck factoring in there. The Rangers, we know this offense is terrible. We've talked about it all the time. 147 ISO in the split, 64 WRC plus, 24.8% strikeout rate. So there's plenty there for him. I just don't know. Just taking a look at the pricing, let me sort here. I have 4 or 5 guys projected in right around the same range as McCullers for either the same money or less. So I'm not sure I want to go with the guy that we know there's going to be an innings question on, rather than a guy that maybe one pops up. So that would be my real argument against him. The spot is terrific against Texas, though.
Yeah, and that's the hard part here. How far is he going to go? I don't know. The other unique thing tonight is there's only 3 games after 8 o'clock. So everything's sort of bunched up. There's 8 games before 8 o'clock, 1 at 8, and then 2 in the 9 o'clock hour today. Let's see here. The free premium content today is the MLB player rankings. We also, at the moment, have the NFL projections available for free. Those will go premium tomorrow. So if you wanted to get them now, that would be one way of doing it. Also, if you want to sign up for our NFL Express package, we have added all Showdown content to that. No special deal or offer. It's $3.95 a week. And that gets you the NFL player projections and the ownership projections for the Monday, Sunday, and Thursday night football games. In addition to what Alex puts together is his rankings. Basically, the only thing you don't get in the Express package is the full slate, player projections, and ownership. You get the other stuff. But what he was trying to do there is just make a nice little, $4 a week, $3.95, $4 a week for someone that's only going to play 2 or 3 days. So hey, if you're only playing the Showdown slates only, this is $1.30 per Showdown to get Alex's projections, rankings, percentage of being in the top 6, top 5 on FanDuel, etc. It's a sweet deal. So if you're thinking about coming on in, that is definitely one you want to go for. I mean, if you play one $10 lineup on each of those 3 days, it's worth spending $4 to get the good projections. Right?
Exactly. It's less than the cost of the tournament you're entering in a lot of cases. It makes so much sense. That's the only, I don't know about you, how you do it, EMac, but that's like the only thing I look at too for Showdown slates. I just go right to our tool. I don't even run my own projections for it. I just go straight to the tool. And the only thing I care about is Alex's numbers with the probability of being top 2, probability of being top 5, and the ownership in the MVP and the flex spots. That's really all that matters. So I don't even care what the projections are at that point. I just use that tool. I think it's great.
Yeah.
For $4, can't beat that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I don't quite do that because I write 3 very in-depth articles for each of the matchups. So while I use our projections, I'm more interested in the ownership, the leverage, and the success and the building out of groups. But I do in my article, I sort of break down the cash game as well. And we've got a fun one tomorrow night, like 52.5 or 54, whatever it is, over under 3-point game. So it'll be a good one. All right. We kind of bounced around on this one a little bit. No real interest in the Texas Bats. I'm very, very tepid on Houston, only because Gibson's a reasonably good pitcher. Anything else we want to tell our people about this game?
So I did land on Houston a little bit just because they're kind of priced down, but I don't love the lineup taking Springer off the top of it and putting Miles Straw in there instead. The back end of it looks like somebody else is missing. I can't figure out. Correa is also missing out of the back end of it. So don't love the lineup they rolled out. So I kind of am coming down more on that side of it. I kind of lean maybe not go to Gibby because of that, but definitely I'm pulling off my shares of the Astros. Gibson is an okay pitcher for the money. He hasn't really been pitching well this year. 4.42 xFIP does belie his 5.87 ERA, so he's been better than what's on the back of the baseball card. He's also had a 3.13 BABIP against, so a little bit of bad luck there, but only 19.5% strikeout rate this year. He's just not racking up the Ks. He's allowed 12 home runs, good amount of hard hit overall. 9.1% swinging strikes is down from 13.1%. Just a lot of bad trends in him, so it's not a pitcher I'm really going to. And the Astros, there's still enough in that Astros lineup that I respect it enough to not really roll a pitcher against them.
Yeah, and then guys that could be pinch hit late for in this one, Altuve and Bregman. I'm guessing one of them is probably DHing. I didn't look at that part of the lineup, but because they've got Mlb Dfs that can play a couple positions, and then they've already in the lineup, they've got Jack Mayfield, who plays a couple positions. So I suspect one of those guys is serving as the DH right now, but whichever one of them's in the field, wouldn't surprise me if they bring somebody else off the bench and move these other guys around.
Yeah, Yuli Gurriel is like 37 also, so he's probably a candidate for that as well, just based on his age.
All right, our next one, I've got a bunch to say about it, but then we'll let you race through most of the other stuff. So we've got Matt Boyd going against Carlos Hernandez. This game, it's going to be 83 degrees. It is in Kansas City. We have a 5.1 implied run total for the Royals. We have a 4.5 implied run total here for Detroit. I want to call out a few things here for Kansas City, and I want to make sure the guys I'm calling out are in the lineups. They are. So here we go. So I said this has been a disaster of a season for Boyd, who has allowed 14 home runs in 54 innings and now leads the league with 80 since the beginning of the 2018 season. He's also in first since the beginning of last year with 53. So this is the trend is our friend. Adalberto Mondesi has been red hot with 10 runs, 8 steals, and a 385, 429, 564 slash line in his last 39 at bats. No home runs in that, but he leads the league in steals. He has 4, 2 in each of the last 2 games, and I love him today because he is clearly running and he is healthy for once. Whit Merrifield also running has a steal in each of the last 2 games. You get that nice power speed combo for both these guys. They're expensive, but there's some guys we can average down on. But these guys are going to play the whole game. That's important to me. Merrifield is just 2 steals away from being in second place. I think he's going to go for that. We see a lot of these guys doing those sorts of things at the end of the year. They got nothing else they're doing in Kansas City. Why not have a little fun? And then you've got some serious raw power with Maikel Franco and Hunter Dozier, and then Sal Perez is great on FanDuel as a contrarian option. Nobody wants to play a catcher. Yeah, he hits like a first baseman. And then my last one, I had some fun looking him up today. Ryan McBroom. He's 2,400 on DK. I'm going to sweep you away with this analysis, Terry.
Oh.
He has played for 6 minor league teams and appeared in both Mexican and Dominican Winter Leagues. Spent 2 years at West Virginia. Didn't actually play there until he was 21.
Wow.
So I don't know what he did between high school and playing baseball at West Virginia, but there we are. So I just said he's a fine discount dandy, but he's not a prospect. He is the Crash Davis of minor leaguers at this point, but he's 2,400 in a spot against the pitcher that has allowed the most home runs basically each of the last 3 years. Technically, Madison Bumgarner's had more this year, but the day's not over yet.
I think that might change. I don't think Mad Bum's going today, so you can take him. The real story of this entire game on the head right there. It's all about those home runs that Boyd's given up. It was funny last night, not Fangraphs, but one of the other sites with lineups, had accidentally, I guess, listed Boyd as the Astros pitcher, which was throwing me off for a few minutes. I was trying to figure out when he got waived or traded or what.
It had to be. Yeah, I went and looked at it as well. I'm like, but no, he didn't get traded. And then if you Google search it, there were some potential trades for him going to Houston last year.
Oh,
so you're like, wait, how did this work? Did they cut him? I thought that waiver bullshit thing doesn't happen anymore.
But yeah, they got rid of the waiver trades. Yeah. But yeah, then I started like thinking about like, wow, with the changes they make to pitchers, that could be really good for him. And he had a whole great career for like a few minutes in my head. But yeah, that's not happening. I would definitely throw some bats at him here. Way too many home runs, 4.82 xFIP to a 6.96 ERA. So there's, I guess, a little bit better quality under the covers, but it's not, anything you really want to jump in bed with. 12.6% swinging strikes is down from last year, up from his overall career. Gets good whiff on his breaking stuff, but lacks an out pitch to lefties. And just 13 of those 14 home runs have come to righties. So ton of power to the right side of the plate. Doesn't really strike out many people on the left side of the plate. So I like throwing bats at him here for sure.
All right. Anything you want from the Detroit side of this? The Kansas City pitcher is just kind of a whole lot of meh. Carlos Hernandez.
Yeah.
He's 5,600. We know Detroit sucks, but they still have above a 4 implied run total here.
Yeah, I think I would stay away. He seems like a kid who's not completely, fully baked yet, and probably I don't know if he's got a ton of upside in his future anyway. Hadn't pitched above low A overall in his 13 innings in the show this year. He's at a 5.25 xFIP to his 3.46 ERA. 18.2% strikeout rate, 9.1% walk with just an 8.7% swinging strike. 4 home runs allowed, giving up a ton of hard and medium contact. Just seems like the kid's here too early. It seems like he's overmatched, might not really be fair to him. So as bad as the Tigers are, and they're bad, 27.9% strikeout rate against righties, 79 WRC plus. We saw Brad Keller, who strikes out no one, strike out, I think, 5 of these guys last night. So there's a game there for him to go get, but I don't know that he's capable of doing it. So it's not really a go-to spot for me. Maybe just for the price, if I really need the salary savings, the extra couple hundred from a 6K guy, I can justify it in a few lineups, but it's not a good spot.
All right, we'll start to get our hustle on here. Brandon Woodruff going against Adam Wainwright, 9,500 for Wainwright there. This is a watered. Is this a double? This is one of those doubleheader games, right? No, it's actually not. Wow, both teams below a 4 implied run total. So Woodruff, I'm intrigued by 3.7 implied run total here for the Cardinals. As I mentioned, the Cardinals need to win out and get help to make postseason. Here, the Brewers, can't believe Dan Vogelbach is batting cleanup for them. He's on his 3rd team this season. He's been outright released by the Mariners and Toronto before ending up with Milwaukee. He did last Sunday have a double dong game.
Good.
Your 2019 Mariners All-Star representative, Dan Vogelbach. I can't pay $9,500 for Wainwright. He's a 5 to 10% guy. We don't have Coors Field. We have Coors Field West, but no Coors Field tonight. So we'll see there. I'm not outside of that. Woodruff's a fine SP2, maybe even a borderline SP1 on DK. What is your read on this?
Yeah, I'm with you. We're running into the same problem with Waino that we did the last time out. It's just that inflated price tag. He had been pitching well, pretty much has been pitching well overall. 4.09 xFIP to his 3.05 ERA, though, so he's gotten a little bit lucky. 2.44 batting average on balls in play against, so there's some luck there, some defense there. We talked about it last time out. He added some spin on his curveball, and that made a little bit of difference in the whiff rate on that and some of his other pitches. Brought his swinging strike rate up to a career high, actually, this year. Last time out, he was okay, and that's kind of been the story of some of these starts. If you look through the game logs, he's given up, last time out, it was 5 2/3. He struck out 7, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs. Start before that was 4 hits, 2 earned. Then before that, 8 hits, 3 earned, 6 hits, 2 earned with 2 home runs. He had given up a home run in each of 6, a home run or more in each of 6 straight starts before the last time out. He's getting it done, but it's uncomfortable, and it seems like there's more brewing there and some trouble brewing there. So, oh man, I said it twice. I didn't even process that they're playing.
Between that and you saying Rockies on the road, I always think of ice cream. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was bad. Oh man, sorry guys. Anyway,
No pun intended.
There could be trouble coming for him here. So the Brewers are not great, but just looking at them over the last month, they had a 179 ISO, which has improved, and their WRC plus went up to 1% above average in the overall. So they've gotten a little bit better. They've gotten a little bit healthier. And I wrote this team up in stack slants today because I liked the look of the value they presented. Out of all the value teams, there were a couple that had a ton of value, but they were going over-owned. The Brewers were going just slightly over-owned or like level ownership with where they should be compared to their probability of being a top stack, but they had a bonus of having some value. So there's some low salaries on some good bats in this lineup, and that's kind of how I got there. I love Keston Hiura, for example, at 4,200. I can play Ryan Braun for 32. I can play Christian Yelich for sure at 4,300. Avi Garcia leading off, even though it's a righty-righty, 2,800, definitely can get to that spot. So there are definitely spots in here. And then not to bury him, but Omar Narvaez drawing almost no ownership, only 2,600, lefty catcher, ton of power that we saw in the splits last year. Really, really like the spot for him. I like him as a wraparound option in that stack. So I'm not going to go wild with Brewer stacks because I don't believe in the lineup really, but I do think they're good enough as a value and help us get to some of those pricey ones that we want to get to.
All right, Fantasy Sharpay, thank you for correcting me on that. It is not the Cardinals that need to win out and get help. It's the Brewers that need to win out and get help. If the Cardinals basically win, they're in.
Okay.
Because they have a 94% chance. It's the Brewers that are in that mix with the Giants and with Philly right now. So my apologies for that. Again, it's just been nip and tuck over the last 3 days. So every time I take notes, it's like, shit, that changed? Damn it. All right. Woodruff 6.5 over under for his pitching prop, and the juice is on the over. So I did want to point that out.
Yeah, I like the spot for Woodruff here too. Card's just a 134 ISO, 95 WRC plus against righties, 24% strikeout. He's firing 30.5% strikeouts, continuing a upward trend over the last few years. So definitely pitching great, love him, and I can get to him.
All right. Anything else from this game?
I think that's the major points. If you wanted to roll some Cardinals out to go against Woodruff, and he's not crazy super popular that you need to do it, but they're going completely untouched and they're affordable. I don't really like the spot for them though.
Yeah, Woodruff on DK top 20% chance to be a top 2 pitcher tonight. That's third best. He is 30% owned approximately. So a little bit of leverage, but again, 3.7 implied run total. Nothing exciting there. Zach Wheeler here, actually 21% chance, just a tick above Woodruff here to be a top 2 pitcher. And to spoiler alert, it's Luis Castillo. That is the number 1 chance to be a top pitcher. Zach Wheeler, kind of an interesting guy here going against the Rays. The Rays have clinched. They have played a little bit of games here with their lineup. I can't tell who is out, but they've moved a bunch of people around and they're going lefty-righty, alternating the whole way. That's kind of fun. Another game here where we have both teams under a 4 implied run total. John Curtis is 4,000 even. If I remember correctly, Terry, I think he may only be good for like 30 pitches or so. What do you want to do with the pitching in this game?
For me, the pitching side would be all about Wheeler. I think Curtis is probably only going to go 1. I think he closed the game last night. So it'll be weird if they let him go more than 1.
You are correct. He pitched last night, went 12 pitches. And then he went 43, 29, and 23. So when I took my notes over his last outing, I thought he'd be a 35 guy, but clearly not.
Because 2020.
Yeah.
Things are weird. So, yeah, I don't really love either side of the Rays.
Wait. Is this the first time in history somebody has finished the game and started the next game? I'm just asking.
That's a good question. I don't know. I would have to. I'm just because baseball. I'm gonna say no because baseball But then again, they weren't really doing the opener thing very often.
Somebody must have pitched both ends of a doubleheader in 1908 or something. But.
I was just, when the guys pitched every day anyway and threw 400 innings a year. There's probably just take the ball the next day and shut up. It's probably in there. Not to get too sidetracked on that. I think Wheeler's really the story here going up against the Rays lineup. You're right. It's a strange looking lineup. Most of the guys are in like the right area of the lineup that they usually hit in. They're just mixed up, like you said. So it's an interesting look. Could be productive for them. We'll see. But Wheeler's been pitching really well. 3.79 xFIP is to his 2.67 ERA. So a little bit of luck baked in there. But a 2.98 BABIP against. So it's not all luck based. A lot of it's just defense, having guys inducing a lot of soft contact, a lot of ground balls. He's allowed 3 home runs all year, 54.9% grounders, up from 43.2% last year, and up from 47.2% for his career. So he made a huge jump in doing that. And then my favorite race of the year that I've been mentioning a few times in stats, he's limiting hard contact, second in the league at 26.3%, inducing soft. That's his second in the league in inducing soft contact at 21.6. He's fifth in the league limiting hard contact at 26.3%. Kenta Maeda is running away with both categories: 21.5% hard contact allowed, 28.5% soft contact induced. So really enjoying that race, and a couple of the pitchers there. It's a stat I like to look at because it tells you how much the guy keeps the ball in the yard, how much he can limit power, and how much he just really peels the top of the offense off. So Rays are decent, 181 ISO, 105 WRC plus in the split, 26.1% strikeout rate though. I like the chances for Wheeler to put up a very nice start here for us.
All right, I've got to bring up Ryan Yarbrough, lefty who's going to be coming in. He's gone 186, 70, 80, 97 pitches. It's not like he really needs an opener, and in theory, Curtis is going to take out the top 3 batters. Additionally, this has to be Tampa Bay just screwing around at this point, but taking an early victory lap in 2020 for besting Boston and the Yankees and all that. But I think we have to consider Yarbrough as someone in your player pool. So do not make sure he is in. So, DK does list him as the probable long reliever. We know Tampa Bay doesn't always follow that, but they probably will tonight.
Yeah, and I think 7,000 on DK. I think, yeah, you're right. He's in play. 8,700 on FanDuel. I don't know that we need him. Yeah.
Plus, he can't qualify for the quality start.
Right, exactly.
So that hurts him on FanDuel. Next one up, we've got the Boston Red Sox at the Braves. 5.3 implied run total for the Bravos. They're going against Tanner Houck, who actually had 2 really good starts. He's in play at a nice $6,900 price point here on DK. I am shocked at that we're still seeing this many Atlanta players in the game, but this would be a group player. I mean, the bottom half of their lineup with the Danny Hechavarria and Ender Inciarte is their bench guys. Remember, it's not September call-up, so a lot of these guys still have pretty thin benches. What did we decide the rule was? That's still not. I went and looked for it today, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
They
28.
28.
28 is what I thought.
28 was supposed to be, I think, the new call-up limit anyway, something like that, and then or it was like 28 and then go to 30 in September or something. They had adjusted it in normal circumstances anyway, so I think it's still limited.
Right. So some of these guys are still going to have to play, but just saying, I thought I'd see a little more watered down lineup than we are. I'm still interested in Tanner Houck, though.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the guy that they took out of the lineup is youngster Austin Riley. Out of all the guys that you've got in here, you might want to consider giving one of the older guys a day off, and Adam Duvall, somebody like that. But they're all in there. So for me, it's all systems go on the Braves. Wrote them up in Stacks Lance this afternoon. They were once again going under-owned, once again because of the pricing on these bats. It was just keeping people off of them. I do think Houck is a pretty good prospect, first-round pick. He's made 2 starts, 4 starts total above AA in his entire career. 11 innings this year. He's got a 4.31 xFIP to his 0.00 ERA. 0.0. He's benefited from a 1.36 BABIP against, which is very generous for him. So a lot of luck there, or just a heck of a lot of good defense. I'm not quite sure which. He's got a 27.5% strikeout rate, which kind of aligns with what he was doing in the minors, but he's walked 15% of hitters, which just doesn't work against a lineup like the Braves. If you're putting guys on base, they draw some walks here anyway, so I just am worried about that. I'm worried about the opportunities he can give up, and then if they get into that Red Sox bullpen, I think they can just circle the bases for days here. So second best ISO in baseball against righties at 228, WRC plus 28% above average. As a team, 276, 357, 504 / second in the league with 84 home runs against righties. Just absolutely destroy righty pitching. So dicey spot for him, but I think, with the price down and everything like you were talking about, I think it's definitely justified for, limited distribution of Houck on the other side.
Yeah, and they were saying it looks like Austin Riley looks day to day, by the way.
Is he? I hadn't seen that.
Minor quad tightness.
Okay.
So, and because and we give shout out to someone in premium chat here. I don't have the current news. Eric Owen. Oh, and he's got a Braves logo, and he's on Team Eric. He did say the Braves bench is rather thin because they're carrying more pitchers. He is correct. So it's not like they're putting in, what is it? Who's left? Markakis not really going to be like he's not a spring chicken anymore. Heck, he didn't even start out. He had opted out before coming back in. So maybe this is a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get with the Bravos here. They've got the bench guys in already, so this is the best they can do, unless they were going to have a reliever playing left field or something. Anything else from this game? We got 24 minutes to go and a bunch of games to get to, so we're going to zip through.
Yeah, I can talk fast on the other ones. Nothing really for me. You can definitely justify the Red Sox against Tucker Davidson here. Another guy in a long line of those pitchers that you just mentioned that the Braves have on the roster because everybody's getting hurt, everybody's going down. Kid's pitched 110 innings in Double-A in 2019, 3.13 xFIP in Double-A, 19 innings in Triple-A, had a 5.82 xFIP to his 2.84 ERA, 20% strikeout guy in the minors. I can throw some Red Sox bats, even though they're having kind of a rough year. They're exactly league average WRC plus against lefties this year.
All right, Tom Housewith in YouTube chat says Wilbur Wood pitched both games of a doubleheader back in the 70s. He was a knuckleballer.
Interesting.
Nice. I'm gonna miss
games of a double. You need to be a knuckleballer to pull that one off.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you, baseball. All right, our next pitcher. You know what's great? Awesemo odds chopper. Sure. So I'm dropping this in. So this is a quick way to look at all player props. Yes, not all of us are in states that have legalized sports betting. I am. We just can't bet on sports. Thank you, Virginia, because whatevs. Tennessee, hat tip to you. Tennessee says hold our beer. We've had sports betting approved for a year and a half, and you still can't get a bet down. But they're changing that over the next couple of weeks here, finally. So I do want to point out Luis Castillo has a 7.5 prop for his strikeouts, and he's got a 134 on the over. So that means it's shading towards the over. That is a nice number tonight, especially going against the Twins. This is a spot where I think he could make some hay, as they say, and he is coming in as our top projected or most popular pitcher, but it's not by a ton. And I think that's going to be the casual gamer, not really going to him. The savvy gamer, yes. So you'll see him in tournaments, but if you're still doing cash games, I don't think people are going to get to him because the Twins, oh my God, the Twins are a good offense. So that's my thoughts on that. But I just dropped that link in there so you guys could easily get to the Awesemo Odd Shopper pitchers strikeout props. Oh, tough to say.
Yeah, that one too.
But anyway, so what do you want from this game? You can take over the whole game here.
Luis Castillo for sure. I definitely think we can hammer away on that one. I think he's in a great spot to rack up some strikeouts. Twins are a very good offense, no denying that. 215 ISO, fourth in baseball this year against righties. 110 WRC plus puts them 10% above average in creating runs. 25.4% strikeout rate, though. That's what we're hunting for here. Overall, Castillo, 66 innings, 2.82 xFIP to a 2.86 ERA is exactly who he looks like. He's 3.21 BABIP against, so he actually could be a little bit better. Got a couple balls, extra balls have gotten through. 31% strikeout rate, up from 28.9% last year when he was already excellent for us. 15.7% swinging strike rate, right around his career average, right around on pace for with last year. Just pitching great. So I definitely think we can fire away with him against these Twins bats. And then I think we can probably get to some stacks of his teammates. I don't really have much love for Mikey Pineda on the hill. Don't know how full he's going to go into the game. 22 and 2/3 innings this year. 420 xFIP to a 3.18 ERA, so not pitching quite as well as it might seem like. 22.6% strikeouts, down from 23.3 last year before his suspension. Doesn't walk too many guys. 4.3% walk rate this year, 5.1 in 2018, 4.7 last year. 14.1% swinging strikes. What I don't like about him is when you look at him, there's not a lot that's special about him. There's the pitch mix isn't anything unique. There's not a ton of special dynamics to what he does with the pitches. There's not a ton of velo, not a ton of spin. So he's very, very basic. Other than just being like a big dude with a weird release point, there's not a lot to him. So I think that a lineup like this, fourth best in baseball with a 201 ISO, 95 WRC plus, a little bit below average, and they do strike out 25.4% of the time here. So there's definitely some strikeouts, but they walk 12.1% of the time. So I think their ability to draw a walk could play and could draw a couple extra ones than he would normally give up. And I think they cash in on the opportunity here. Won't go nuts with it, but it's a spot that's kind of on the radar for me.
Why did Pineda not make his last? Did they just slide everybody? Because he's last pitch on the 19th, but I don't see any injury news when he's gone 92, 98, 104 for his pitches. Is it just basically a function of he's only played 4 games this year and they went to 6-man rotation?
I think there was a couple starts ago where they had Dobnak was going to go and then for whatever reason and they bumped some people, something like that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I would guess it's related to that.
That's where he got skipped because he hasn't pitched for a week, but he's should be decent. And I believe both of us are fans of teams he used to pitch for. Yeah, he never realized his ability. That was very disappointing. A little bit of an overlay alert here on Yahoo. I guess we're not right up to lock, are we?
We got a little time. That fooled me before too with the FanDuel tournament. I was like, "Oh,
sorry guys." Yeah, I was gonna say something nice there, but I don't think we're gonna be chasing that. So let's get on to. Let me kick you off on our next game here. We are going with Joe Musgrove, Aaron Savale. Savale was the guy that I put in my cash game, my placeholder lineup, which I just usually build as a cash game lineup. I want to see where we have him coming in, because he is the fourth most likely pitcher to make the top 2 on DK at 15%. I can't believe he's just 18% owned. That feels wrong. Even with his price point of 8,500 ticking up a little bit. Last time you and I did a show together, Savale was, or not the last time we did a show, but the last time Savale was pitching, we did a show together, and I was saying, I don't know what to do with him because he's been good, but not great, but not quite great, but not bad. What the hell? He's just like but he's playing Pittsburgh, which is just by starting against Pittsburgh, don't you get 5 fantasy points automatically that you cannot give up?
I think so, yeah. I think they got him in the bank already. So, yeah, I think that little dance that you just did in your brain there was kind of why he's only 18%. I think that's what a lot of people get to. It's just like, well, I've kind of heard of this guy, and is he the one that was? No, he's not that guy. There's a lot of guys with no real name, like Plesac, and a lot of different guys with no real name brand out there, but they're pitching well. And he's definitely doing a good job. 3.87 xFIP to a 3.99 ERA, 22.4% strikeout rate, just 5.5% walks. Giving up 8 home runs in his 70 innings on the year, so there's nothing really wrong with that. 10.6% swinging strikes, up from 8.8% last year. Throws a pretty heavy sinker most of the time, and really just has a good pitch mix, makes things work. And you hit it. The Pirates are bad since the start of 2019, so giving them the extra time from last year to help their sample. They're only at a 153 ISO and 88 WRC plus, so 12% below average, creating runs. They do strike out only 20.5% of the time in the split, so that would be their one saving grace here. So we might not see a huge strikeout game, but I like him to eat some innings, and I like him to have a nice start here against this team.
So here it is, and thank you, Fantasy Sharpay. We're gonna get a 3-man booth here for next week's regular season show. Oh, sorry, this is the last one. But Fantasy Sharpay, he's on his game. So he says Savale will be on a pitch count. I'm looking for it. So are you ready? Do you want to know what the pitch count is?
What do you got?
We don't know.
Oh, helpful.
Yes, thank you. So, nonetheless,
technically they're always on a pitch count.
Now this is important. I'm going to read his pitch count totals, and we're going to decide where he's probably going to be. 105, 107, 101, 100, 103, 95, 109, 96, 97, 106. He's in mid-season form. I say 90, 95. I'm still willing to go there.
Yeah.
I think he might lose an inning. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's totally
But
reasonable.
fair to point out, absolutely fair to point out. This is where it's like we need to know all the information.
Yeah, that could be a critical piece of information, especially if they'd come out and said, he's only getting 75 tonight. That would be, severe, and that would be brutal and slate changing. So yeah, good info.
And when he comes out in the third inning, and they're like, "Yeah, you got enough work in. This was your throwing day." Then Fantasy Shark Bay, yeah, we're gonna be singing songs in your honor. Is what we will be doing.
Tiny dog of fantasy Shark Bay.
Joe Musgrove in play 6,700 on DK, 94, 87, 64 pitches in his last 4 starts. See, I think Cleveland is fully clinched. Can they? Oh, but they're in that group that can sort of change things around with home field advantage or not. So I don't think they're going to sit anybody early.
Yeah, and home field advantage pretty big in this structure. All 3 games being at home in that first round, that's definitely something that they're going to want to chase. Yeah. So I would expect to see everybody play the full slate. It looks like, for the most part, the regular lineup that they've been rolling out here. So we've talked about it a million times on the show over the course of the year with the switch hitters up top going into Franmil Reyes. We like that a lot. Roberto Perez could be a sneaky catcher option for only 2,500 and no ownership on DK. A little bit of power in that bat. It hasn't really shown its face this year, but it's in there, I promise. Musgrove, I do like. I would definitely be getting to him a little bit at 6,700 on DK. 84, a little bit steep on FanDuel. I get a good projection on him, but I don't know if I would want to push any of you guys into it. Overall, pitching well, 32 2/3 innings, 3.40 xFIP to his 4.68 ERA. K's way up, 31.7%, up from 21.9%. 5 home runs allowed, 13.8% swinging strikes, up from his career 11.6. He reduced his fastball usage from 37% to 27%. I've got a lot more notes about his pitch mix. Suffice to say, he changed some things, and it's working.
All right.
Yeah,
we're going to keep cruising. Battle for Chicago here. Lester versus Dane Dunning. Chicago, again, they're sort of in the mix with Cleveland, they can catch the page. They can catch the Twins. They're both a game back. So Twins are going against Luis Castillo. Tomorrow could be really fun if the Twins lose and either or both of Cleveland and Chicago wins. We're going to be down to all sorts of tiebreaker scenarios here. But Dane Dunning, yeah, I'm okay with it, but not thrilled. How Javi Baez is batting 7th tonight and Jason Hayward is batting cleanup, I have no idea. That's just weird in and of itself.
It's a funky lineup for sure, but they've been switching some guys around in that lineup. Baez has been, he's been dropped a couple times. He's been hitting. They're just trying to really get him going on the season. And this was a team that I was looking at the other night. I forget which team you and I were talking about on one of the shows, but we were talking about low batting averages and just looking at how those numbers compared to some of the power numbers or something.
Yeah, it was like Edwin Encarnacion and,
exactly.
Ramirez from Cleveland.
Chicago team. Right, yeah. So, and then I just happened to notice that night in particular, I mean, looking at it tonight, there are 3 hitters in the starting lineup for the Cubs that are sub Mendoza for the season. Those being Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, and Javi Baez. 3 hitters that I'm more than happy to roster. I don't care that they're hitting under 200 this year. So that's a little bit that we hope that people are seeing that out there in the public, people who don't know better and skipping over these guys, which it seems like they certainly are. They're not drawing any kind of ownership, and they're not that expensive. The prices are down because of those guys struggling. So the lineup isn't very good in the slash department, but we know there's still power here. We know that some of the guys are still functioning. A guy like Jason Hayward, who you mentioned in the cleanup spot, is having a killer year. Really, really nice season from him. So I think we can get to some Cub stacks against Dunning here for sure. And I'm pretty happy to announce that I think I've completely quit John Lester forever after those 1 strikeout performances and a bunch of hits and whatever the garbage it was the last few times out. And I was on him and didn't want to be. And it's just, I'm done. I'm done with John Lester. So expect the gem from John Lester here with that. I don't like him. I don't get a good projection on him. I would want White Sox bats against him.
All right, I'm double checking, but I think that gets us through all of the 9, or probably all of the 7-10 games. So we got 3 to go. We got plenty of time. Reminder, we're dipping on out of here at like 6. I keep saying it. 5:59, because for the last hour we got live before lock MMA style pay-per-view card tonight. Gigantic tournaments. You're going to get Pete the Heat Rogers and Jason Floyd. have you covered. It's not going to be on this stream, but it's already posted on the Awesemo YouTube channel. And if you go to the Awesemo homepage, you can see it there as well. So you guys can jump in on that. Justin Wilson wins the chat tonight. I like Matt Boyd to give up 4 home runs. So yes, I like Matt Boyd. Not for the reasons you would think, but for the reasons you would think. Nice work there.
I like it. Clever wordplay.
Nice word there. All right. Let's get in our last 3 games. As I mentioned, the Rockies in Arizona, the roof is open. It's 103 degrees at first pitch in Arizona. That is I forget if it's a 5-10 or 6-10 start. And have we sprung forward? Have we fallen back? I don't remember, but just know it's not really 8 o'clock there. So it's going to be 103 degrees. The humidor is still in effect, not full effect though. I like Herman Marquez at 7,700 on DK. I'm still comfortable with that. However, is this 4.7 implied run total for, of all teams, the Diamondbacks, an indictment against Marquez? Or is it the Rockies bullpen? I'm getting a little nervous by that number. I thought it'd be like, I thought the roof would be closed and it would be like 3.9, 4.2.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Roland Marquez, 50%. I'm good. Now I'm like, why is it 4.7?
Yeah, it's concerning. And I'm wondering what they know as well. This is a pitcher that I like, that I was planning on getting to. So that is a frightening run total. And maybe they are pulling a little bit out of the bullpen on this and not expecting him to go the full bore. I'm not sure. Overall, he's pitching great. 74 and 2/3 innings, 3.87 xFIP to a 4.10 ERA. A little bit better at home than on the road, just like the Rockies bats, which is just weird, but we've been on it all year long. But still very good overall on the road. 21% strikeout rate, 12.2% swinging strikes. Diamondbacks are not a very good offense, like you were alluding to just then. 19th in baseball with a 162 ISO against righties. 94 WRC plus puts them 6% below average creating runs. Only a 20.5% strikeout rate, so they could potentially limit his DFS scoring. But again, I'm not really seeing where they're coming up with that opportunity for them to generate all those runs against him here. So it's a curious kind of a spot. Just hopping over to the top starters tool. Where does Alex have him? Yeah, he ranks pretty low down the board for Alex as well. So that's interesting. That might change what I'm going to do with him. I haven't started crunching anything since we've got the extra hour. But on DK, for sure, he's drawing right around level ownership and not from a great place in the starters board. On FanDuel, maybe a little bit more interesting, kind of pricey at 8,900 for the one pitcher site, but you're getting only like a third of the ownership that should be on him. So maybe I like him a little bit better over there, but still not great, not ranking out very well on the overall board. If you look at the percentages, it's not that giant a delta between Savali in 5th and Marquez in like 10th or 11th, whatever that is, though. Very small gap there. So you can play the percentage, you can play the ownership game in between those guys on the one pitcher a little bit here.
Yeah, I think
it's interesting.
I think I'd still go Marquez over Savali at 7,700 on DK. 100, 102, 91, 96, 87, 95. That's his pitch count in his last starts. I'm just not seeing why this is an issue. Arizona, a bit of a disaster this year on offense. So, hey, one more day, YOLO. That is what we're doing here. Luke Weaver. Is Luke Weaver in play today? Rockies, Mia. On the did you already talk to Luke Weaver? Sorry.
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, went from a guy we were incredibly picking on, and what has he given up? Like 1 home run in his last, I don't know, like 15, I'm making it up, 15, 20, 30 innings?
If we're making it up, let's say he's given up none all year and give him a lot of credit.
Well, he's given a boatload up.
Yeah, he's been
through the first few games, but he's been on, like, it's like, I'm going to ride up the Rockies. And then I started looking at his numbers today. No, I'm not.
Yeah. It's funny. And you said, it's somebody that was down and now it's kind of, we're jumping on him when he's coming back up. He's somebody I actually had to jump off of because coming into the season, I was kind of on him. I thought he was going to have some upside.
Big
here.
Prospect for the Redbirds. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the strikeout upside for him. So there was a lot there that I liked, but yeah, all those home runs came against them early and it scared us right off of them. Overall, 47 innings this year, 5.05 xFIP, so not a great xFIP, but much, much better than his 6.51 ERA. .343 batting average on balls in play against, so there's some bad luck in there for sure. Guys are getting a little bit lucky, hitting them where they ain't. They're also hitting a few of them over the wall. 22.9% strikeout rate, 8.4% walk rate, not too bad. 10.6% swinging strikes, which is actually up from previous years. So he's trending in the right direction with some of the strikeout stuff, some of the pitch mix stuff. He's got an excellent fastball, really nice quality fastball, a lot of spin, added spin to it from last year. Should be making some differences. So it might be a young pitcher just struggling with how his pitches work off of one another now that he's changed that fastball. A lot of guys, you see them make the change and then everything just kind of snaps together right away. Other guys, it takes a little while to figure it out, to find the mix. We saw Trevor Bauer even struggle with his pitch mix for a while before really finding it. So that could be with what's been going on with him. I like the spot. Rockies bad against righties, 71 WRC plus, 144 ISO, 24.1% strikeout rate. I think we can get to him here.
All right, 2 games to go. We're going to do this in 4 minutes. Dylan Bundy, 9,200. I'm okay with him. I disagree with the Vegas 5.5 implied run total. Bundy used to be the league leader in home runs. That's Matt Boyd, who's also on this slate tonight. Bundy has given up 1 in his last 6 and just 5 on the season in 65 innings. Phenomenal. Dodgers, oh, good God. AJ Pollock's batting 9th. That's all you need to know about this lineup. Dangerous lineup. I'm okay with Bundy on the late slate. Didn't think I'd say that, but I am playing that 2-game late slate. Main slate, he's like a 10% guy. There's really no point. Tony Gonsolin, I'm not interested in. And then I got interested with the 3.7 implied run total here for the Angels. We do not yet have their starting lineup. I'm guessing because it's their 9-hole hitter, Luis Rengifo, who is questionable. They're going to play their usual guys, including Trout, who is essentially the MVP this year, but that's it. And then I'm going to turn you loose for 3 minutes of nonstop talking. San Diego, San Francisco. San Francisco needs to win the next 2. We have Johnny Cueto on the mound. We have Zach Davies on the other side. I'm okay with Davies on the evening slate, not on the main slate. 9,900. That's just there are better ways to spend our money. I just don't see the upside there. The quick notes here. Let's see. Giants have a 50% chance to nab the 8th and final playoff spots in the National League. Let's see. Drew Smyly's going tomorrow. They've had a doubleheader yesterday and an 11-inning game on Thursday. Everybody in their bullpen pitched in the last 48 hours except Wandy Peralta. They put up 12 innings. Yesterday, 20 total runs were scored across the 14 innings. The magic of Oracle Park lives on. It's Coors West.
Coors West.
Wrap us up. Go for it. You have 2.5 minutes. 2 games, 4 teams.
Kind of says a lot about the quality of the pitching staff when you're saying we need to win the next 2. Somebody get me Johnny Cueto on the phone.
Or Drew Smyly. It was it was touch and go as to who was going to start today.
Right. Yeah. So when you land on Johnny Cueto in that decision, your pitching staff is not good, and you might be going home and not playing in the postseason. I'll just read it the way I wrote it because I wrote up the Padres last night. The way I wrote it was Cueto's days are that's not what I wrote. Cueto's best days are long since gone. The right-handed starter has gotten somewhat unlucky with a 4.86 xFIP to a 5.53 ERA in his 57 innings so far this season. Cueto has a 20.6 strikeout rate despite just an 8.6% swinging strike rate this season. There's not much to fear for him in terms of rally-killing strikeouts with this starter anymore. The Padres have been one of the best offenses in baseball all season long. Against right-handed pitching, they rank 3rd in ISO at 220 and have a WRC plus 20% above average. Fire away with Padres bats, guys. That's kind of a no-brainer spot. Bundy, a little bit tricky on the other side of the Dodgers game there. They're fantastic, like you mentioned. AJ Pollock hitting 9th. It's an embarrassment of riches in that lineup. They're the best in baseball against righties. 241 ISO this year. 127 WRC plus is excellent, 27% above average. They strike out less than 20% of the time at 19.8. He's been great this year, like you said. 3.73 xFIP to his 3.29 ERA, 27% strikeouts, up from 23.1 last year. 6.4% walks, down from 8.3%, 12.9% swinging strikes. Absolutely killing it. I'm not sure how much I can weaponize him against that Dodgers lineup, though. I fear them. Zach Davies, way too expensive on both sides. Don't really want any part of it. Giants, middle of the road kind of an offense. They've been frisky all year. I think that's just way too much to pay for him, despite what we've seen with improved quality. 22.7% strikeouts, way up from his career, all based on that changeup. I don't think it's real.
All right, we have MMA going live almost immediately. I'm dropping the link to the free Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article in chat. Check that out. You can talk to Terry and I in premium Slack. We have another hour. I'm going to be making baseball and MMA lineups, so good times there. And then a reminder, we start at 10 o'clock tomorrow with 3 hours of NFL up until kickoff. And then we have the Sunday showdown slate. I'm actually out again this weekend, and then you're stuck with me for like 5 Sundays in a row and Mondays. It's going to be an all EMac primetime special. We'll talk about that later. That might be pay-per-view. But with that, gamers, good luck.